right. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's going on? What happened to my camera? All right. What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Why does it feel like a little... It feels not as bright. It feels dark. Is it too dark in here? Oh, my lighting's a little messed up. I'm sorry, guys. I'm all over the place, man. Oh, lighting's all over the place, man. My goodness, my goodness. So I had to take my TV because I went to my parents' house. So I took my TV and my Xbox and all that stuff. My goodness, I'm about to rip this thing up, brother. All right. What's going on, everybody? What is going on, 27 Squad? Welcome into another late night stream. Didn't really plan on doing this, but however, I haven't gotten any news about what's been going on. Joe Schoen just had a presser. I didn't know he did, so I want to watch that and react to that and bring you guys along with me instead of making this like a long form like video or whatever. You know, I would have to go through the video, write notes, make the video, edit the video. I'd rather just blind react to it because I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have already watched the Joe Schoen presser and kind of shared your own thoughts on Twitter. I barely was on Twitter today. I was running around all day, extremely busy, had a day off of work today. So I had to run some errands, you know, do some adulting stuff. So I wanted to come on here and watch the live stream together. Now, I saw some stuff pop up on the Bleacher Report app, like Jordan Schultz saying that the Giants apparently are open to trading the 34th pick to move back up in the first round, which is something that I brought up as a possibility if Shedeur were to fall. I know a lot of people hate that because the Giants tried it with Michael Penix last year because the news was confirmed that the Giants actually did plan to do that if Michael Penix were to fall, and they missed out on it. And a lot of people are saying now, like, oh, you know, if you want to trade up for him, you should have drafted him at 3. I respectfully disagree because I'd rather have Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders rather than just having Shedeur Sanders and then like place your defensive tackle, you know, at 34 or whatever, you know. I think it's so much more than how you feel about the quarterback because in essence, yes, we're going to get into it, everything in a second, guys. And I'll say what's up to you guys in a second. I see some of you guys commenting. In essence, just to get this out the way, I get what people are saying with like, hey, if you like Shedeur Sanders enough to trade it back up into the first round for him, you should have just got him. You should have just got him in the at number 3. And I respectfully disagree because I think the value of that number 3 pick is so much more higher than anything you're gonna give up to get up to like in the 20s in the first round. You know, your second round pick, your third round pick, maybe a next year's fourth, if that's the case, because it really doesn't cost that much to go back up. I really don't think it's as valuable as getting somebody at the 3rd pick and then getting a quarterback. Like, I think it's just a force multiplier there. Like, if you were to tell me, hey, you can get Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter at 3 and still get Shedeur Sanders, and you're only giving up your second round pick and one of your thirds, I'm taking it over than just taking Shedeur Sanders and then getting like a let's just say like Darius Alexander in the second round or something like that. Yeah. Yes, I would sacrifice one of our 3rd round picks and our 2nd round pick, which is in essence the same 2nd round pick. You're just moving up a couple of spots and getting Shedeur Sanders. Yes, I would. You know, I don't think you can say, hey, you might as well just take him with a 3rd pick, because I think there's so much more to that, adding on that you're actually getting somebody at number 3 that's probably worth the pick. You know what I'm saying? You guys know what I'm saying? So, and I get it. If you actually believe in Shedeur Sanders, if you believe in his ceiling, then you take him at 3, but I just don't. I just don't. But I do like him, and I would like to see if he works out. So, it's all about how much you want to risk. Drink your water, guys. Drink your water. Stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. What's going on, everybody in the chat? Make yourselves known, man. Thank you for joining me on this late Wednesday night. Charlie Collins in the building. Hunter at 3, maybe. I got my cross backwards. Charlie Collins at Hunter at 3. He's second on my big board. I love Travis Hunter. I love Abdul Carter. I really go back and forth on who I have at number 1 and number 2 on my big board. I really do. I go back and forth on it all the time because both players are at positions that are, I would say, not exactly a weakness for the Giants. Like, the Giants don't necessarily have a weakness at cornerback. You know, of course, he would be an obvious upgrade over Deonte Banks, but, you know, I would really struggle just benching Deonte Banks in general, you know, because that's probably what you're going to do if you draft Travis Hunter. And then, of course, at the edge rush position for Abdul Carter, it's like, yeah, you got Kayvon, you got Brian Burns, you know, you're going to get a good rotation. I would take Abdul Carter in a second, but at the same time, it's not really a pressing need. You know what I'm saying? It would be a lot easier if the Giants had a pressing need at one of those positions where it becomes a little bit more obvious, but you know, those positions aren't really pressing right now. Could they be upgraded? Absolutely. That's why I would not hesitate in pulling the trigger on any one of those guys. So Charlie Collins, it all depends on who's available. I don't think Hunter and Abdul Carter are going to be available, so we will have the pick of the second pick of them. Whoever's left over, Hunter or Abdul, is what I think the Giants are going to do. YG Knight, what's going on, bro? He says, salute, first time catching live. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for popping in. I appreciate you big time. Jaden in the building, of course. Jaden, the head moderator. You guys pay your respects to Jaden in the building. Aura Blue, just in time for dinner. Absolutely. Let's eat. Get ready to learn Carter and Milroe in the first round, buddy. Yo, don't speak like that. Don't speak like that, man. Not ready for Jalen Milroe in the first round. I'm not really ready for Jalen Milroe at all, but you know. We're getting Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter at 3, and 34 could be a wide receiver, quarterback, or defensive lineman. Yeah, I absolutely. Now we went over, if you guys caught my video I made last night, I talked about the top 30 picks, the top 30 visits, and what really surprised me, and Nelly Neal said, or running back, what really surprised me is the amount of attention they're giving day 2 running backs, and not just day 2 running backs. These are the higher echelon running backs. These guys are slated to go in the second round, you know. Of course, it's the running back position. It's very unpredictable where these guys are going to wind up going. It all depends on how you really value running back as an NFL GM, how you really value it in your offense, where, you know, a lot of teams are willing to wait, so running backs tend to drop. But I feel like the fact that this running back class is so talented that it's going to force running backs off the board. So a lot of people think that running backs are just going to be available in the 4th round, where they're just going to be a bunch of great running backs in the 4th or 5th round. I think it's going to have the opposite effect when you have such a vast amount of talent in day 2, where I think they're just going to fly off the shelves. I really do think that you guys remember the cornerbacks that came off. Last year, there were a bunch of cornerbacks that were in the second round, and a lot of people were like, including myself, were like, damn, we're gonna have a good selection of cornerbacks in the second and third round because these guys are just falling. But what happened? There was a huge run of cornerbacks early in the second round, and the Giants missed on guys like Kool-Aid McKinstry and Kamari Lassiter. Guys that fell, that the Giants thought, hey, these guys are falling. One of them's got to be available. Even Max Melton was taken. I think that's his name, right? The cornerback out of Rutgers was taken before the Giants were able to pick. So I think it's going to have the opposite effect, and that's why I think the Giants are really looking at these running backs where they're like, hey, you know, at the 34th pick, if a guy like Amarian Hampton is available, and he would definitely be best player available if he's there. I don't care who's available. Barring any surprise guys like a James Pierce or like a Mike Green, they have their issues, their off the field issues that might wind up having them fall. You know, barring those guys, maybe a couple of others. Amari Hampton is going to be the best player available if he's there. I wonder if the Giants say, screw it, let's take him and let's upgrade that running back position. I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I think it will be a fun pick. I think the Giants have a lot of other pressing needs, but then again, I love BPA. I love BPA, and I know a lot of people say they love BPA too until a really talented player at a position you don't need shows up, right? Where the best player available is at a position that you don't necessarily are needing right now. Then you're just like, you're throwing BPA out the window and you're drafting for need. And then you're doing exactly what Joe Schoen pretty much does, right? You're doing exactly what and then what everybody complains Joe Schoen does, drafts for need, If we draft a running back, what happens to Singletary? They're going to wane off of him. Singletary is like he's not great. The best Singletary really adds for there's nothing right now that that Singletary does that Tyrone Tracy can't. Maybe Singletary is a lot better of a in between the tackles back where he's able to sustain a lot more hits, maybe push for extra yardage, as Tyrone Tracy can get slippery, but he's not a guy that's going to fight you for extra yards. I think Singletary, when he puts his head down and he presses forward through the A gap, he can get you a couple of yards, a couple of extra yards. But Devin Singletary's 5'8", 210 or something like that. We can find better running backs that can do that type of job for us that are going to cost less. Damian Martinez in this draft is going to do just that, and he's a lot bigger of a back. You know what I'm saying? Kal-El Mullings, Montrell Johnson out of Florida. These guys can do that, and you can get them for dirt cheap in the draft on day 3. So I think the Giants are going to try to wane off of Singletary and try to move in different directions and try to get a lot younger, try to start recycling these guys. And I know it's going to look a lot worse with that Devin Singletary signing if we try to wane off of them, but that's just the game. That's just the NFL. They move off of players as soon as they don't need them anymore. As soon as they have the ability to replace you at a cheaper price and still get the same production, they're going to do it. So I'm okay with that. How do you feel about Dylan Gabriel in the third? No. I don't want Dylan. Listen, I'm all about my short kings. You will never see me disgrace somebody in the NFL because they're short. I want all short players to succeed. I'm a short king myself. I'm a short football player myself. Dylan Gabriel's too small. Shout out to him for making it this far in his career, right? He's played with multiple teams. Right, he's played with, I believe he started off with UCF, then he went to, I believe, Oklahoma, then Oregon. Maybe there's another team I'm missing out there, but he had a long career as a quarterback at 5'10", extremely tiny guy. I mean, super tiny. What did I say? That was Diddy. Somebody said pause and I said no Diddy. What did I say? Oh, damn it. Cut that out, editors. Cut that out. But Dylan Gabriel is not it. It's like worse than Stetson Bennett at this point. Everybody was worried about Stetson Bennett and his size. Dylan Gabriel is even worse. I mean, and he's not nearly the guy as talented as a Kyler Murray, where you can ignore that. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it. I don't want Dylan Gabriel on this team. No. No, I'm good. Let's see. If Abdul Carter is drafted by the Giants, does Kayvon get traded? That's up to them. You can still get a good listen. You know what I like about the edge rush position? That's why I prefer Abdul Carter a lot more than a Travis Hunter. Not a lot more. I really would be okay with both of them. With any of them. I don't care. But why I think it's easier for the Giants to draft Abdul Carter is because you can set a really good rotation with those guys, with Brian Burns, with Abdul Carter, with Kayvon Thibodeau, and get a good rotation with those guys because you run a very fluid 3-4 defense that you can move guys around. It's very different when it comes to the cornerback spot. You need these guys to play down after down to get in a rhythm, get a good flow going. You can't just keep rotating these guys in and out at the cornerback position. That it doesn't work the same way that pass rushers work. The front seven works, where these guys, you can move them around in different formations, different techniques and all that stuff, and have NASCAR card packages and stuff like that. It's very different. You can't do that. You can't do that with the cornerback position. That's the problem. If you draft Travis Hunter and you're putting him at cornerback, you're not going to be... This isn't a preseason game where you're going to be putting Travis Hunter every 3 plays or every drive, and then you're putting Deonte Banks in. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. It doesn't work like that. I don't think you're going to get Deonte Banks to develop that way, and I don't think that's going to be very good for Travis Hunter either. You know, at least with Abdul Carter, he's played off ball before. If you need to blitz him off from the off ball position, you can do that. Imagine having, listen, all respect to Bobby Okereke, but he's not the best like blitzing linebacker. But Micah McFadden with Abdul Carter blitzing like think of a freaking engage 8, right? Cover 0 blitz. You got Micah McFadden, Abdul Carter at the off ball spots blitzing. Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I mean, RIP to the quarterback. Of course, those corners will have to defend, but my goodness, I'm just imagining that. You know, I'm just imagining that. At least if you draft Abdul Carter, you can still find a way to put Kayvon Thibodeau on the field as well. You can't do that if you draft Travis Hunter. Where are you going to put Deonte Banks? He's not going in the slot. On top of that, you already have a slot corner you're trying to develop. You know, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You know. Go, man. Short Kings. So what? So what, Short Kings? Rise up. Rise up, Short Kings. Rise up. I really do want to go into this presser because I heard it's very content filled. I heard Joe Schoen said a lot of stuff that really are piquing people's interest, and I really usually don't care about Joe Schoen or Brian Dable's pressers because they really like try to avoid answering any question possible. But apparently there were some clues that a lot of people are talking about, and I'm all about body language. I'm all about dissecting what needs to be said or what has been said and seeing the context of it and trying to figure something out. So I'm all about it. So if you guys want to watch along with me, let's go. I haven't even typed this in yet. I just got home, to be honest with you. I just got home. So let me stay hydrated, guys. Stay hydrated. 25 minutes. Oh, God. 25 minutes. Damn, Joe. Damn, Joe. I want to react. If you guys have a New York Giants video to react to, send it to me on Twitter. Maybe if we have time, we'll react to one. If you guys have come across a video you guys want me to react to, like from a you know, news or something like that, I'm gonna try to avoid copyright them as much as I can. But you know, I wanna start doing this live more, and then you know, you guys send me stuff to react to or mock drafts to react to or something like that. You know, I wanna start doing stuff like that. Shador fan club was crashing out after the presser. Really? Oh God. So are we gonna get some Shador news? Listen, I don't know what it is. Shador. I don't want. Oh, I'm not trying to start no beef, bro. I'm not trying to start no beef, but because every time I do this, I get the Shador fan club like acting like I hate Shador, and I think I've proved already that I don't hate Shador Sanders, but you got some radicals out there, right? The problem with them is like they on one hand they keep saying, well, the Giants are just not going to draft Shador Sanders. They're just not smart enough to do that. They're a terribly run organization. And then at the same token, they are like saying, they are twisting every news outlet possible to say that the Giants are interested in Shador and they're going to get Shador Sanders. Like, they can't make up their mind. They don't know if they can't decide if the Giants really love Shador or they don't. I don't know. I've seen both sides of the token. Shador will be a Saint? Maybe. They might have to force a pick because Derek Carr might not play this season. You know, that might shake up the entire draft. We are probably going to run this in like We're gonna see how 1.5 speed sounds. Joe Schoen has a weird cadence in his speech where sometimes he speaks fast and then sometimes he slows down because he stutters a lot and he like loses his train of thought. So we'll see. Let me take. I think ad block is off. I think ad block is on. So hopefully we don't get any ads. How loud is the background music, guys? Is it good? Turn it down a little bit or what? I hear it from my headphones already. I think I might put the background music a little down, just a little bit. Get the beat going. Shout out to Pops. Shout out to Pops. You good? You're good. Beat is fire. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. That's the background music I've been using. The same song. I love it. I think it's a perfect beat for my channel. Did you know? Quick little fun fact for everybody. Did you know I had some random person that this happens a lot as a content creator. You're gonna see this a lot if you become one. So random people will take free instrumentals, and you know how a lot of like SoundCloud rappers, they'll take free instrumentals and use it for their like beats because it's just a cheap way to get a beat instead of hiring a producer or making your own. So they'll take a free instrumental, use it for their song, and then, you know, they'll put a I don't know how to explain it. Not a patent, but like sort of like a rights. They'll have it in their like rights. And so I'm doing a terrible job explaining this because I don't really know the terminology, but I know exactly what it is, but it's hard for me to explain it. But basically, they put it under this website that kind of goes through and copyright stuff that's yours, you know, that you own, you know what I mean? Like this music website. So obviously, it picks up, like in my videos, my background music is all the time in my videos. It's happened twice with my outro song and with my background music. It happened both times where a SoundCloud rapper tried to use that free instrumental that's free on YouTube. That's where I got these beats from, free on YouTube, and used it for their songs and tried to claim everybody using that background music as if it's their own. They're taking somebody else's content, making it their own. They're saying that beat is theirs. So I had to fight them multiple times. That's why I think a couple of months ago I had to, I either put no background music or I put a different background song. And I was fighting that, and I won both my claims. So now I'm untouchable. You could send me a beat, Nelly. Now, hey, I would. Hey, send it to me, man. I don't have my Hold on a second. Man, you just reminded me. I don't have anything under my description because I made this live. While on my phone, so I didn't have time to make my description. So I'm gonna put my description on there. And bro, you could if you have a beat, you be making your own beats. I'm gonna read your thing right now, Mike. I'm gonna update my description, and you guys can upgrade. I'm gonna update my description. You guys can email me your beats or whatever. Oh, my description is updated. All right. So all my like socials are there, guys, including my email. So you guys, if you have a beat, send it to me, man, and maybe I'll use it in my next live or something like that. I would love to use subscriber made beats, bro. It's just part of the community, bro. Part of the community. Let's go. We need to get to join the Milrow fan club and see the vision. You ain't making me see that vision. Yo, KB, what up? One more week until we get Abdul Carter. Maybe if you're not doing anything for the day, we can stream it like in 2023. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if I'm doing anything with any other channel, so we'll see. We'll see. Cause last year I was on Bleacher Report, and we did this day 2 on Bleacher. Where to send you beats? My email. Go into the description. It's on the bottom of this live. Go into the description, and my email should be there. So you just email it to me, and next time I'll check it out. I'll check it out. But all right. Now that I did that, there was something I wanted to do. Customization. Let's try replay. There was something I wanted to do. I can't remember. We're gonna get into the video, guys, in a second. I promise. We can get into the video in a second. With the live stream, though. Oh, I know where to go. How do I get into here? Right here. Yes, live control room. Just making sure everything is good on my thing, because I made this video. I made this stream on my phone, so not everything like kind of automatically gets put onto it, as opposed to doing it on my computer. So I'm just making sure everything's good. All right, so we're good. We are good. Let's go. All right. Let's pull it up. Whoa, that's loud. Let's see if I usually watch my stuff in 2x speed, guys. I don't know if you guys do, but I usually watch my stuff not 2x speed, 1.5. Let's see if it's too fast for us. Let's see if it's too fast for us. Let me share my screen. And I heard, yeah, we'll talk about that other stuff about Giants possibly trading their pick, or I heard the Giants are interested in trading down as well. That's crazy. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to do that. What do you guys think is better? I think this is better. Just so you guys can see more of the screen instead of having it like how did I have it before? Oops. Ooh, that's good. How about that, guys? That looks good, right? There we go. I like that. You are definitely my longest member, Mike. Pause. But yeah, you are. Why haven't I done this before? This is a perfect screen. Do the Giants draft for a stronger O lineman? Possibly if one's available. I really want Donovan Jackson in the second round, though. That's a guy that's like high on my list. You know, between him, Marion Hampton, defensive tackle, Donovan Jackson's high up on my list. I would really love Donovan Jackson. All right, he's literally gonna be Lamar Jackson. Sure, Jaden, sure. All right, let's go, guys. Let's see. I am gonna put the background music down a little bit so we can hear what's being said. I'm probably gonna make this into a pre-record as well, so I don't want people in the comments being like, your background music was too loud. Huh? See? Bunch of babies. All right, let's go.
All right, I'd like to first off start by thanking my scouting staff, along with
Alright.
many people in the building through these 30 visits, the scouting process, the all-star games, the combine. The coaches are heavily involved in the process.
Okay,
A lot of Zooms. They Zoomed with a lot of these prospects.
See, his cadence slows down then speeds back up. I want to put it like 1.25 for you guys.
Been to a lot of dinners, a lot of meetings in the facility with some of the prospects that came through, pro days, private workouts. Also, whether it's strength and conditioning coaches, the cafeteria, Pat,
right,
Dion, their staff, Lonnie, Dr. Lonnie. We put these kids through quite a process when they come through the building, and there's a lot of people involved that are critical in our decision making. So I want to thank them for that. With that being said, we feel like we're in a pretty good spot. With the draft coming up in 8 days, and there's still some work to do and some loose ends that we're going to tie.
Yo, the draft is really in 8 days. In 2 hours, it's about to be, the draft is about to be in a week. I've only done like 2 mock drafts for the Giants all year. I gotta get working on another Giants mock draft, baby. We gotta do another Giants mock draft. I gotta do my 2-round mock draft. Oh, I'm excited for this weekend. We're gonna be pumping out some content, guys. I forgot the draft is so close. Oh my God, we're about to see who's gonna be a Giant, baby. Come on.
Meetings with coaches, some Zooms. We can still do Zooms with prospects. So we're not there yet, but we're getting close. But feel good about where we are. So with that, I'll open up to questions.
Talk about still work to do. It's been reported that you guys are doing some private workouts with quarterbacks.
Yeah, I want to hear about this.
Why the timing of it to do it
so late
process now, maybe rather than sometime earlier.
Before he answers, because I don't know what answer he's gonna give. Before he answers, I guarantee you the Giants are just doing their due diligence. Either they're doing that, or they're just trying to make it seem like they're actually interested in a quarterback this late on, because they haven't shown interest in quarterbacks throughout this entire draft process. The fact that they're doing these private workouts so freaking late, besides Jackson Dart, nobody's talking about how Jackson Dart got a private workout with the Giants weeks before. Like, we're talking before his pro day, and somehow that went under the radar and came out when the Shedeur Sanders private workout came out. But besides the Jackson Dart private workout, he's doing it so late. They're doing it so late. I don't think they're interested in quarterbacks. I think they're trying to make other teams seem like they're interested in the quarterbacks, but I don't think they are. I really think they're out. And I know there was a quote later on that we're going to hear about Joe Schoen talking about how he feels like they put the Giants in position right now where they don't need to draft the quarterback. It's not a absolute priority in this draft. And I said that as soon as they got both Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. They put themselves in a position where if they don't feel like they want a quarterback, they don't have to draft one, as opposed to not getting those guys and forcing a Shedeur pick. Or forcing a Jackson Dart in the second round, or Jalen Milroe and trying to make him a starter, like a Will Levis situation.
Yeah, it's a unique calendar year. I think the draft is as early as it can be, that Thursday in April being the 24th. If you're speaking specifically of Colorado, like their pro day was April 4th. That was the last one. 2 to 3 weeks after the draft, we make our calendar for the next year, and we have a process that's in place that we believe in terms of how many days we need for our meetings and medical, psychological, some of the third-party vendors that we use in terms of how the calendar goes. So with the April 4th pro day of Colorado, we were already in meetings. So when I left you guys at the owners' meetings, we started that Wednesday, and that's how the calendar is for us every year. So it was unique that a pro day was that late, and we had to stop meetings to go out to Boulder. But these private workouts have been in place. And what happens, Jordan, is a lot of times these prospects won't do privates before their pro days. So if we could have done a private...
Okay, this is like so null and void, because it's not just Shedeur Sanders that was slated for a private workout. It was Shedeur Sanders, Tyler Shuck, and Jalen Milroe all announced at the same time. And I'm pretty sure they have yet to do those private workouts. They weren't after the fact, besides Jackson Dart. So him talking about Colorado's sense, I guess it makes sense. Colorado had a late pro day. It was later than most college programs, but that's besides the fact. You announce 4 freaking private workouts with quarterbacks on April 14th. I don't know. That seems a little weird to me. I know he's just talking about Colorado, but what about Louisville? What about Alabama?
Workout with Shador before his pro day, we probably would have. But the concern there is they also have receivers, and there's a lot of receivers at Colorado. So you don't want to be that team that does a private workout with a prospect and then they pull a muscle. Or one year I was in Miami, there was a tight end at Nebraska Omaha when they had football, and he broke his wrist at the private workout, and the pro day was the next day, and all the scouts were pissed off. So you got to be conscious of that. You don't want these guys to get injured before their pro day when all 32 teams can watch them perform. So there's nothing unique about this other than the calendar is what it is this year, and we were in meetings. Some of these prospects have had 30 visits, so you're trying to connect the schedules. They're busy, we're busy, and this was the week where we could get out there and do some of these other private workouts. And we're not just doing this with quarterbacks. There's a couple other positions that we have private workouts.
That's a lie. The lie detector determined that was a lie. There has been no announcement of any other private workouts besides quarterbacks, unless there's something I haven't seen yet. Can you guys let me know? I haven't scoured Twitter all day today. But as far as I know, the only private workouts are with quarterbacks. We haven't, there is one more week until the NFL draft. And you're telling me there's more news about private workouts? Stop lying, Joe. Joe, why are you lying, bro? Who else is getting private workouts? There's local visit workouts. That's not the same thing.
That are coming up as well. So it's just, when you're trying to
That's a lie, brother.
put the big puzzle together, and players are coming in, they're at 30 visits. The off-season program, it takes two to be on the same page and have openings where you can get together.
What do you get out of the private workout, especially with the quarterbacks?
Yeah, we have a process in place that we've had. I mean, this dates back to when Daves and I worked together in Miami. I remember the Andy.
What did that guy ask? Who else is getting private workouts? And did he just dodge the answer or dodge the question?
Have openings where you can get together.
What do you get out of the private workout, especially with the quarterbacks?
Oh, what do you get out of these private workouts with the quarterbacks? Okay.
Yeah, we have a process in place that we've had. I mean, this dates back to when Daves and I worked together in Miami. I remember the Andy Dalton, Mallet, some of those guys. So it's a pretty thorough process in place that we believe in, and we've seen the results play out at the position. So I'm not getting into specifics with that, but it's been tested, it's true, and it's a lot of times it's panned out. Whether we didn't like a prospect, and how they project it to the next level.
Joe, you discussed right from the beginning about the importance of improving the quarterback position. You've signed a couple of veterans in Russell Wilson and James Winston. How important is it for the Giants to select?
This is where he's going to say that he doesn't need one.
In this draft?
With the signing of those two players, I think we put ourselves in a position where I don't think that's mandatory or something that we're our feet to the fire and we have to do. I think.
As much as I have a problem with Joe Schoen, as much as I have an issue with Joe Schoen, I actually like that he did this, right? I like that he did this in the offseason where he addressed the quarterback position with not just like freaking plumbers, right? Not just like career backup guys that have done stuff in the league, for better or for worse. I know we could talk about Jameis Winston all day. We could talk about the recent performances of Russell Wilson in the past couple of years with different teams, but these guys have balled out, right? These guys are not like plumbers, right? The Giants and Joe Schoen put themselves in position where they are not backs against the wall saying, just give me a quarterback. They put themselves in position where if they take a quarterback, let's say they take Shador Sanders at 3, it's because they are infatuated with Shador Sanders and want him at 3. They love him as a quarterback if they take Shador Sanders. However, if they are in doubt of Shador Sanders, they don't have the utmost confidence in him. The organization is split on whether to draft him. They don't have to. They do not have to. And I'm not going to say he's run this organization well because he really hasn't, to be honest, with the roster. But one of the things you want to put your team in position of is not having to force a pick, especially in the first round, not having to force a wide receiver, especially a quarterback. So say what you want about Joe Schoen and his methods. I'm not the biggest Joe Schoen guy either, right? I despised Joe Schoen and his draft methods for years. You guys can go back and see it. I like that he did that. I like that he signed Russell. I like that he signed Jameis Winston just in case. This is not Shador hate. Even if Cam Ward was available, I love Cam Ward. But if they don't love Cam Ward, I don't want them to feel like they have to get Cam Ward. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I like it. So that's one thing I'll give him a W for. W, Shane.
The two guys we signed have played a lot of ball. They've got a lot of skins on the wall, and I do think we've upgraded that room, compared to where it was a year ago. I like the two guys that we have, and Tommy's still in there, and he's won games for us too, and he's still developing. So we're happy with the makeup of the room right now.
Joe, when you look at the league-wide trends, how much does that affect or tweak or cause you to tweak your processes when you look at some of the things that the successful teams of last year maybe were able to do in terms of personnel?
What trend are you?
Like, for example,
Wait, I don't even know what she's trying to ask. That's Patricia Traina.
Compared to where it was.
Does that affect?
So we're happy with the makeup of the room right now.
Joe, when you look at the league-wide trends, how much does that affect or tweak or cause you to tweak your processes when you look at some of the things that the successful teams of last year maybe were able to do in terms of personnel?
The trends of league-wide processes, like what other teams are doing?
What trend are you?
Like, for example, more defensive line rotation, more running back emphasis, that sort of thing. Does that, cause you to tweak your
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a trend, but you look around, like you look at, the vision and your match.
I'm no disrespect to Patricia Traina, but I have no clue what the fuck she's trying to ask. I don't even think Joe Schoen knows what she's trying to say. Let's see how he gets out of this one. I don't even know what the hell she's trying to ask.
Matchups within the division or your opponents or what's coming up, and ultimately you're trying to build the best team. But I know, again, talking about Miami again, we're Miami, and they had New England had two really good tight ends. Well, how are we going to match up against these guys? So if you have a weakness versus a certain opponent that you got to play a couple times a year, you look at that and how you're going to build your team, because ultimately you want to win your division. So not so.
Oh, is she trying to say like the trends of other teams' processes? Do you have to like look at that and try to combat it? Like, having a lot of running backs, you're going to have to try to stop the run, or having really good quarterbacks, you want to have good defensive backs. Is that, or get good pass rush? Is that what she's trying to say? I don't know. Apologies to Miss Traina, but you could have framed that question better. I don't even know he knows exactly what you were saying.
So much trends around the league, but it is a copycat league, so coaches are looking at that from a personnel standpoint. There's really good collaboration with the coaching staff and what they're looking for and what they need in order to put the best product on the field and win games.
Joe, when you go into a draft, now obviously you're going to the fourth draft that you've had, how much do you have your current depth chart, your current roster, but also project 2-3 years down the road as to what you have in the building, but also what you're going to be drafting, position-wise, what you look for? Can it be in two different silos? Is the current over here and draft separate, or do you have to mesh them together? Yeah,
we're always looking at that, Art. That's a good question. And okay, here's where we are salary cap-wise going into 2026. Here's our players that are going to be UFAs. If there's a guy there in the second round that could maybe he's a backup year one, but then we don't have to pay somebody $20 million. You're looking at it that way. Really good player, eventual starter, where you are salary cap wise, whose contracts are coming up. So you're always looking into the future. Hey, this is eventual successor to player X if we don't get a deal done or can't extend them. You're always looking into that. Yeah, for sure.
That's just a good way. That's just a good way to run a business. Like I said, say what you want about Joe Schoen. I'm not even saying he's running this organization well, because he's not. But what he's saying is right? You have an instance, right? You have an instance where, let's say you have a defensive tackle, right? That's on the last year of it. Okay, Kayvon Thibodeau is a perfect example, because the Giants have yet to take his fifth-year option. He's right now scheduled to be a UDFA or a UFA at the end of this season. If they don't take his fifth-year option, people are getting mad if you draft Abdul Carter. Well, he will be the successor to Kayvon Thibodeau. And I'm sorry, Kayvon Thibodeau didn't do anything really to get himself a top-tier payday. Maybe if the Giants want to bring him back on something cheaper, I think he would get like mid-tier defensive end money, like mid-tier edge rusher money. Not anything crazy, not anything top tier, but Kayvon Thibodeau doesn't suck. He doesn't suck. He's pretty good. I just don't know how I feel about keeping him for the long run instead of just upgrading him with somebody that I feel like could be a generational talent in Abdul Carter. So you kind of gotta look at those things. Who are your eventual UFAs, and is that potential UFA a guy that you want to bring back? If so, then you don't really need to draft a successor. But if you have a guy that's really good at a position, you can draft him, develop him, have him split rotation reps, and then eventually be your starter and let the other guy kind of wane off of that guy. I think the Giants are going to do that with Wan'Dale Robinson. To be honest with you, I don't think Wan'Dale Robinson is going to be here much longer. I know they're trying to like force him to work, because they're trying to like force him the ball, scheme him open and stuff like that. But he's so pigeonholed as a player. Like There's only a certain thing. He can't beat press, so you got to always line him up behind the line of scrimmage. He only plays the slot. You can't put him on the outside. You can't put him on deep crossing routes because he's tiny. Nobody could see him. Linebackers shadow right over him. You can't arch the ball over to him because linebackers are just going to pick it off. There's not much you could do with Wan'Dale Robinson. He's a slot player that can run you quick little stems here and there and out routes to the boundary. That's pretty much it. You know, I like Wan'Dale, but
I mean,
they're gonna have to win off of him. I'm sorry I went on that tangent.
I was talking about the other day with our secondary now. I'm like, geez, like 3 years from now, they're all up at the same time, and Dexter's up at the same time. So I'm already, you're projecting down there our rookie class last year if they won a first rounder. So 3 years from now, there's a lot of guys, core guys right now that are, their contracts are up at the same time. So you try to prevent that when you're doing some deals here and there, and but we're always conscious of that, the financial aspect of it, and then how are we going to replace these players?
Joe, you look at,
Mike is not sharing his snaps. The Glorious King does not share snaps.
So you don't take every guy that you want to be a gold jacket, Hall of Fame starter. There's different levels to, depth charts and where you want guys. You look at quarterback there's no reason to take the quarterback anywhere in the draft unless you think he can start for you and be a really good player, or
not necessarily true. If you need a backup quarterback, or you think you have something in a good backup quarterback, you can take him. It'll be a little bit of a luxury pick, right? Like going in the 3rd round, 4th round, and looking at a quarterback and saying, hey, he could be a good backup for you. But you're not going into day 2, day 3 where you're like, yeah, I want this guy to be my starter. Like, there's no place for that. The hit rate is too small.
you take a guy in a different round that he might make our team and be a depth guy, you know what I'm saying? I mean, is that different? You took the quarterbacks differently than the other spots?
Yeah, and it's a little bit ties into Art's question. Just backup quarterbacks are between $4 and say $10 million, right? Whatever number you want to throw out. But so yeah, if you can get a quarterback in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, whoever it is, and he can be your backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Now you're opening up financial resources that you don't have to spend on a backup quarterback, and he can be a
not starter,
cost control player
backup
for 4 years. That's not expensive compared to what's on the open market. So yeah, like it doesn't have to be, hey, this guy's got to be a starter. Like it'd be nice to have if it's a young backup quarterback
exactly
on a rookie contract too, because when you look at what we paid for backup quarterbacks, whether it was Tyrod, Drew, to where we're now, that's money you can spend elsewhere. So. Yeah, and to sign a guy with upside at that position that can develop and maybe win you games, or maybe they develop into a number one. You're always looking at those scenarios.
Joe, I know you characterized this year's quarterback class.
There's some depth to it. There's good players for various reasons, different ages, different playtime experience. There's quarterbacks in this draft that'll go on and play and be starters in the league.
Are there quarterbacks of the future, so to speak?
Yeah, I would say so.
I know you said you don't think it's mandatory to get a quarterback in the show.
What is he gonna say? No, these quarterbacks I just don't see it. These quarterbacks, I don't really see any of them starting in the league. Like, what else is he gonna say? Come on. What's the point of asking these questions? I don't understand. Like, you act like he's gonna say stuff like that.
Sure, but how surprised would you be if you got through the entirety of this draft and didn't take a quarterback?
How surprised? Like a percentage?
That's a good question.
Do you like going in your head? Do you think it's a likelihood that you might end up with a quarterback, or you think?
Answer it, Joe.
Where do you stand on that at this point?
Answer it, Joe.
I don't know whatever else you're dealing with, 31 other teams and how they see their boards. So yeah, if the value matches up with what we have on a player and there's an opportunity to take any position, we'll do it. But I'm not going to force it if it's not the right value. And again, if the board lines up and we're on the clock and that's the position that we want to go with, we'll go with it. But I'm not going to be backed into a corner on that.
How do you decide when a player is worth a risk taking it, where you might have reservations on him, but
He kind of scurried off the question a little bit. He said, how surprised would you be? He kind of answered it. He basically said he's not going to be surprised because he's going to take a position. If he feels like quarterback is the best in that position, that he feels like he wants to take it with that pick, he'll take it. But he's not going to be forced to take one. Decent answer.
But it's worth the gamble because there's other attributes that maybe he does hit.
Yeah, no, that's a good question too. And it's the issue doesn't change whatever it is, depending on what it is. Now it could if it's medical. So if this guy has he's coming off a shoulder surgery, he's not going to be ready till October. You drop that player a little bit since you're not going to get him until week 8. That's going to get better. If a guy's not very smart or can't do something that you're going to ask him to do, or there's something that's not going to get better that maybe you're not comfortable with, maybe it's the kid has some background issues or something like that. If you drop him and say, okay, we can't pass on this guy, the issues are still the issues. So that's what we're wrestling with, depending what the issue is, and the support system and ecosystem that we have in place here with player development and the coaching staff and in the locker room. Can we handle a player with maybe an off-field issue, or maybe they're immature, or whatever it may be? We're weighing the pros and cons, and can we fix what may cause them to fall? Is the risk worth the reward? And then is that what we want to bring in our locker room?
Speaking of medical, how comfortable?
Step aside, you have 250 options coming up.
Mhm.
Evan and Tibbs. Have you made a decision on those two?
Yeah, we haven't. We'll probably wait till after the draft on that and get those guys.
we you know, you have two you have two 5th-year options coming up in Kayvon and Evan Neal. They made a decision on that. What are you gonna do? We just haven't gotten around to it yet. We just haven't made our decision. Bro, are you kidding me? Well, Kayvon, there's a legitimate conversation. Evan Neal, you are not returning. Get off my football team. You are not coming back. We just, it's a hard thing to try to discuss, and we're looking into it diligently with our front office on what's the best course of action for these two players, and bringing them back. It's just a hard decision. We're gonna see how the roster looks, and if the money adds up and stuff like that. They're not bringing them back, bro. We are in April 16th. The deadline's on May 1st, I believe. The beginning of May. They have not taken the 5th-year option yet. What is going to change that they're just gonna take the 5th-year option? What is going to change? Nothing. The draft is the draft. You still have a year of Kayvon. The 5th-year option would be for 2026. I don't know. That's they ain't coming back. Sorry, guys.
Next week's all-season program starts. Have discussions continue with Evan as far as maybe sliding over the guard.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Evan again.
That's a good take there, Marjorie. That's a good take. You never know. What if he's fodder for the draft? What if he's used as currency for the draft?
I'll echo what I said 2 weeks ago at the owners' meeting. Like he's going to do whatever he can do to help the organization and do what's best for the Giants. So, he's motivated. He's had a good offseason. He's been working hard. So,
please, God, please, Tennessee, we'll give you a stud pass rusher. Kayvon Thibodeau's a former 5th overall pick. Give us the number 1 pick, please. Please. Let me take Cam Ward and be the end of our suffering. No Giants fans will come in unity. Pause. The Giants fans will come together in unity for Cam Ward. Shador fans, Cam Ward fans, Jackson Dart fans, guys that just want a quarterback. We'll all come together in unity if we just get Cam Ward. Please, for the fan base, for the franchise. I want to be happy again. Trade up to the number 1 pick, please. Tennessee, listen to me, Tennessee. Please listen to me, Tennessee. We want Cam. Please, we'll give you Kayvon for free. Give us the 1st overall pick, please. I'm sorry. That was my plea. To the Tennessee Titans. Mike Borgonzi, I hope you received this message well.
we're excited to get him back in here, and he's going to do whatever he can to help us.
Yeah, speaking of medical, what have you heard, I guess, the most recent update on where Abdul Carter is?
Yeah, we have that meeting tomorrow with Ronnie and his crew, so we'll have some more information. We've been in contact with, he was here on Friday. I think that was pretty well reported, so feels good. He's working out, he's running. Didn't even know he had it. You know, he went to the combine, it was news to him, so I don't think there's going to be much room for pause there.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it either. Just imagine, guys, just say like you as yourself, say you are going into the NFL. Obviously, majority of us are Giants fans. Just imagine getting drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles or something. You being a Giants fan, you're growing up, you're going into the NFL draft, you're a player, and you get drafted by the team you grew up hating. Imagine you get drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles. That's Abdul Carter right now. Like, I'm pretty sure Abdul Carter just wants to make some money. I would say, but at the same time, the Giants are probably like bottom of his board on teams to go to. I guarantee it. I know he posted the Giants that he was in the facility and posted Lawrence Taylor and all that stuff. But I'm sorry, if I'm going into the NFL draft, I know it's a business, it's about money and stuff like that. I would be disgusted having to put on that helmet, that winged helmet. I don't know.
With
I can do it.
Hunter, who has said this week that he wants to play both positions. When you meet with the player, just how often do you discuss your fit, how you want them to fit in with you versus just kind of what they envision their fit is?
Yeah, the players ask us that all the time. How do you see me fit with your organization? So Travis is a unique individual. Again, Dave said it at the owners' meetings. You got to watch a lot of plays on him. So he's fun to watch. It's unique that the ball skills, the route ability, and then also the ability to go the other side and play corner. Like you just don't see that very often. A lot of times, if these guys can't catch or they can't play receiver, then they get moved to DB. But this guy can do it all. So he's also he's a great kid. So it'd be hard to keep him off the field, and he's motivated to play both ways. So again, you always worry about the length of the season. With the NFL 17 games and training camp, and you're just if he gets hurt doing something that he's not doing full time, you're going to kick yourself. But he's a unique athlete that I think will be able to do both.
What do you do as his private?
The way he's talking about it with that slight little smirk there, I don't know. You ever been asked about your crush and you have to casually explain that person? I don't know, she's all right. I see her every once in a while. She does her thing. She'd be walking in the hallways. She's cool. What about her? That is what I see from Joe Schoen there. Just a smirk on his face, kind of describing how good Travis Hunter is glazing him. I don't know, man. I don't know. Seems like he likes Travis Hunter.
What do you view as?
I don't think he would talk about Shador in the same way. I'm not saying that Shador hate. I'm just saying I don't think he would talk about Shador in the same way. I think he talked about Shador. He was asked about to explain Shador. He wasn't smiling like that.
Primary position.
Jeez. We're in a unique position that we have 3 good receivers, and we like our secondary right now. So that'd be our situation will be unique. So would not be afraid to play him on both sides of the ball.
Look at him smiling. Who got you smiling like that, Joe? Yo, he's thinking about just thinking about having Travis Hunter on the team. He's like, we have 3 good wide receivers. We have good corners. We just paid one, but he's gonna play. He's going to play. Trust me.
Unique position that we have 3 good receivers, and we like our secondary right now. So that'd be our situation will be unique. So
the head bobbing, smirking.
Would not be afraid to play him on both sides of the ball.
He likes Travis Hunter, man. He likes him some Travis Hunter. He doesn't care who is at the cornerback spot, who's at wide receiver. He's gonna play. That's basically what he's gonna say. What he's saying.
Do you think that is for a player to do it on both sides full time? He kind of.
I think it would be difficult, but he's proven that he can do it and be available. So that's a unique part. But you're always concerned with these guys. We're looking at the workloads and the yardage each day, and then to me, what will have to be settled is the mental part of it, because the offense is very hard to learn, and then the defense on a weekly basis, it's not college anymore where, hey, these are our basic plays, this is our basic defense, and we're gonna go play cover 3 against Kansas, we're gonna play cover 3 against Nebraska. There's a lot more week to week matchup type stuff that our coaches are doing. So just how much can you handle mentally where you can go out there and execute and they can trust you to do your job. So physically, I wouldn't doubt the kid.
When you look at Travis, most people around the league seem to say he has all-world potential at corner. He also has all-world potential at receiver. Do you share that boat where he can be that good at both spots?
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt the kid. He's that type of athlete.
Bro,
he's had that type of production.
Okay. I know the reporters are constantly asking about Travis Hunter, but the fact that Joe just keeps going on and on about how much he's gonna play. I know we have wide receivers, we have corners, but he's gonna be on the field, and he's just so good at what he does, and it's so rare that you see a guy doing this and that and playing both sides. If we draft him, we just gotta figure out how he's gonna be in both meeting rooms at the same time and stuff like that, and it's about the mental aspect as well. He's thought about this ad nauseum. You can tell that he's thought about this a lot in his head. He's smiling. He can't help but to smile when talking about him. He hasn't smiled about talking about any other player. Not even Abdul Carter, I don't think. I don't even think he smiled as much about Abdul Carter. Not about Shador. Not about Abdul Carter. He's smiling ear to ear and nodding his head and talking about Travis Hunter. I think Travis might be the pick if he's available.
It's insane the amount of snaps he plays a game.
He's still glazing.
Sit down, goes over, gets a drink of water, and gets back out on the field. So he's got that type of athleticism. He's got the right mindset. He's a great kid. So I wouldn't doubt him.
Are you talking about the future in terms of, looking ahead, signing guys and salary cap and all of that? When you think about potentially trading assets, to move around in the draft, do you
Make this
sort of
about Travis.
take the long view as far as not only what assets
Make
you
this
might
about
have in
Travis.
the future, but
Well,
what
I
the
think
draft
Travis will
might
be
look
there at
like
3. We don't need
long-term?
to trade.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we take all that into account. Usually if you're gonna, it depends. So like if you're looking long term, it's, you got to make sure it's a player that you really like. If you're talking about trading future assets, but yeah, we take all that into account.
Joe, when you look at players
I'm
like
pretty
Anthony
sure.
Gordon, who made a
I'm pretty sure that's in regards to trading back up into the first round for somebody. I think if the Giants, because like I said, I don't think they like Shador that much. To be honest with you, I'm not saying they hate him. I just don't think they like him at 3. If the Giants were to get Travis Hunter at 3, and Shador falls, I think they would make a play at Shador. I think they would. Is it the best move? I honestly don't mind it. Having a force multiplier like Travis Hunter, his college teammate, bringing on Shador Sanders as well, I think that makes a lot of sense. That might get you to get Shador rather than just taking him at 3 and not getting Travis Hunter to pair with him. If you can get away with getting Travis Hunter, and listen, Travis Hunter is still the number 1 priority. This is not Travis Hunter versus Shador Sanders. This is getting Travis Hunter, and if Shador Sanders is available, you try to trade up for him. This is not, Shador is not a number 3 pick worthy type guy. I don't want him at 3. Sorry to hurt you guys' feelings. I don't want him at 3. But it sounds a lot better to get his best target that he's had throughout his collegiate career. His best friend, his guy that's like a brother to him, and still playing with him into the NFL. It makes a lot more sense to get Shador later than to just draft him at 3 and not have Travis Hunter. You get what I'm saying? But it's not to say that needs to be the Giants' plan A. I'm not saying that the Giants need to go into this draft hoping they get Shador Sanders later on in the draft. I'm not saying that. If you want Travis Hunter at 3, you better be thinking about not getting Shador later on. Don't make that your plan A. You got to be okay with just getting Travis Hunter. But if Shador were to come along, then you have a conversation. But it's not saying that needs to be your plan A. If you want Travis Hunter at 3, you got to be okay with not getting Shador at all.
position switch this year. Does that, set up ideas for you as to where he might fit in? Is there such a thing as too many pass rushers in your mind?
I don't think so. I mean, everybody watched the Super Bowl, right? Philly rushed with how many? 4 the whole game. So that's one way to do it. So yeah, I mean, if you think about any of these players, that may or may not be in the mix, as a unique player like him that played off the ball for 2 years, then has only played 1 season, off the edge, and had a really good season. Then you got Kayvon and you got Burns, you got Dex inside. He gives you a lot of options. He's a versatile player. He's young, he's 21 years old, and exciting player to watch. But yeah, you can't have enough pass rushers.
But would you be able to find a spot for him, given that, primarily he's, I think, lines up the same spots as the other guys?
Yeah, we would find a way. Yeah, we would find it. It's no different than with Travis Hunter. Like we could, you got a first round corner, and we just brought in Paulson, and we got 3 weeks. Like you figure it out. Like you got good football players. You figure out, find a way to get them on the field and utilize them.
Okay, notice something when he was talking about Abdul Carter and utilizing him and putting him on the field, that he'll still get on the field. He smiled a little bit when he mentioned Travis Hunter, but he didn't crack a smile talking about using him all over the place. Like, look at this.
Lines up the same spots as the other guys?
Look at this.
Yeah, we would find a way.
Body language, all right? CSI, like crime investigative, like, you know what I'm saying? Lie detectors right here, bro.
Yeah, we would find it. It's no different than with Travis Hunter.
He mentioned Travis Hunter, starts smiling. Then what happens after he mentioned Travis Hunter and starts talking about Abdul?
Like we could, you got a first round corner, and we just brought in Paulson, and we got 3 weeks. Like
no smiles.
You figure it out. Like you got good football players. You figure out, find a way to get them on the field and utilize them.
No smiles. But talking about Travis and what he can do and how he's gonna be on the field, even though we have 3 good wide receivers and we just upgraded the cornerback spot, he's gonna play. Yeah, don't you worry about it, guys. If he gets drafted, he's gonna play. Yeah. I don't know. This is Travis Hunter all over. Look at his face. His face did not look like that when he was talking about Travis Hunter. As soon as you talk about Travis Hunter, he starts smiling.
He's, I think, lines up the same spots as the other guys?
Yeah, we would find a way. Yeah, we would find it. It's no different than with Travis Hunter. Like we could, You got a first round corner, and we just brought in Paulson, and we got 3 weeks. Like you figure it out. Like you got good football players. You figure out, find a way to get them on the field and utilize them.
We cracked the code, guys. We cracked the code. He wants Travis.
So how do you deal with the best player available line with the most important player to your organization, like the need that you have? Do you have to kind of balance that here?
Yeah, you're always doing that. You're always balancing that. But again, I've tried to set it up each year that we can go into the draft and we can play a game, and the hope is that you're better than you were the year before as of today. Or
we've gotten
next
worse and
Thursday
worse
when
and
we go.
worse, Joe. Joe, we've gotten worse and worse and worse. We're going in the opposite direction. We're going in the opposite direction, Joe. We've been getting worse.
The game. So if there is a blue chip or generational type talent or something you just can't pass on, even if you maybe already have starters at that position, you don't pass on that type of player. So, again, then if you go need based, that's when I think sometimes you can make mistakes at times. So again, I like to go in so you're not backed in a corner where you have to take a certain position and you can take the best player available.
Joe, I don't expect you to literally answer this question directly, but do you have a pretty good idea, or do you know what's going to happen at 1 and 2 at this point, or are you still in the information gathering process, waiting to try to figure out what's going to
Good question.
happen? In front?
Yeah, it's still in the information gathering process. I mean, again, I always tell my guys, when we look at our board or free agency or values that we assume everybody sees it like us, and that's not always the case. So still gathering information. I mean, there's rumors of what teams may or may not do, but what we can control is, hey, come up with 3 players we're happy with and rank those guys. And if they don't go in that order, they go in a different order, knowing who we like best of those 3 players. And that's what we can control. But yeah, still, there's still the rumor mill. It's that time of year. It's rumor. Quick
little question for you guys. Quick little question for everybody in the chat, right? What in tarnation are the Cleveland Browns doing? Are they flat out tanking? Are they flat out tanking? Why are we hearing that they have no interest in Shedeur? I'm not hearing anything about them interested in Shedeur. I mean, I think they had a private workout with him, but they had the number 2 pick, obviously. What is going on with them? Because they've got goddamn Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco on the roster right now. They have nothing at quarterback right now. And nobody's talking about them possibly drafting Shedeur Sanders. Everybody is saying it's either Abdul or Travis, that they're out on Shedeur. How? How can you as an organization, they just signed Joe Flacco. They just signed him 2 days ago. So you went into all through free agency with Kenny Pickett on your roster, and you traded for him. What are the Browns doing? What are they going to do? I'll tell you what, they take Shedeur Sanders, they'd make this draft a hell of a lot interesting. That really puts the Giants in a bind. And I'll be torn, because you guys know I prefer Abdul Carter. But it looks like our guy Joe Schoen has the hots for Travis Hunter. And I love Travis. I'm not going to complain if it's Travis or Abdul. I'm not going to complain. So, the entire top 3 avoiding Shedeur. I'm crying. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. I don't want to eat my words and then all of a sudden the Giants take Shedeur. I'm like, oh, I was wrong. Maybe I eat my words. Who knows? But I really don't think any of the top 3 guys want Shedeur. So, we'll see. Yeah, man, the Jets aren't out of the possibility of getting Shedeur either. They have Justin Fields and Tyrod. I mean, it's ugh.
Rumors everywhere. So have somewhat of a sense that I think will happen, but obviously I don't know that for a fact.
Where are you at with
How does
trading?
consensus building work? I'm sure every year when you guys come together for your meetings, that people have different ideas about 1, 2, 3, 4, and
Yeah.
this 1, 2, 3. Were there a lot more divergent ideas this time, or would you kind of walk in the room and say everybody's got number 1?
Yeah, so we have a horizontal board, which is, it's quarterback, running back, all the way across, offense versus defense. And then we do a vertical stack. So that's where we just did it this past weekend with the scouts. They just left last night, or actually this morning the scouts left, but we finished up our meetings last night. And that's where you get into the hard conversations, because if these 2 players are there, which is a reality, they may be there, who are we going to take and why? So there's a lot of respectful debates in the draft room when it comes down to, and a lot of times it's
Wait, rewind. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I just zoned out for a second.
Rooms, are there a lot more divergent ideas this time, or I'm sure every year when you guys come together for your meetings, that people have different ideas about 1, 2, 3, 4, and
Yeah.
this 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Were there a lot more divergent ideas this time, or did you kind of walk in the room and say everybody's got him number one?
Yeah, so we have a horizontal board, which is, it's quarterback, running back, all the way across, offense versus defense. And then we do a vertical stack. So that's where we just did it this past weekend with the scouts. They just left last night, or actually this morning the scouts left, but we finished up our meetings last night. And that's where you get into the, the hard conversations. Because if these two players are there, which is a reality, like they may be there, who are we going to take
Travis and Abdul. That's going to be a hard one for them.
and why? So there's a lot of respectful debates in the draft room when it comes down to, and a lot of times it's two good players or two players we really like. That's where there's discrepancies in the room. And ultimately I'm tasked with making the final decision, but we'll phone in the coaches and get their opinion if those guys are there, or if it's two positions and we love both players, which position best helps the New York Giants. Like we love both players, it's the same value. Who's going to help us the best. So it's a collaborative process. Scouts do a great job. They're on the road 150 days a year and they know these players inside and out. And then we bring the coaches in and get their opinion. And if there's discrepancies, which that's what this week and early in the next week is, we'll work through, or we'll get the film and watch it together. And okay, let me see if we can see what you see, or we try to coerce them into seeing them how we like them. So it's a good process. It's a good group of people, a lot of good professionals, and the collaboration, the communication's is very good.
If it's up to Joe Schoen at the end of the day. I mean, what he said was nice, but obviously scouts are gonna have their own different opinions, but usually they all come to an agreement by the time the draft comes. Usually, a lot of these scouts are in agreement. They've discussed it to a point. So much to a point where all their minds are going to be kind of like hive-minded, right? Like they're all going to be thinking the same. They're all going to have around the same board. At the end of the day, Joe Schoen's going to make the decision, but they're all going to be okay with it. It's like, you're going to have a guy like, I object. The guy that you're about to draft, I have not even 2 rounds later in my big board. Like it's not gonna be like that. Majority of them are going to agree with each other. They had so much time to talk about this.
Is John Mara going to Boulder tomorrow with you guys?
John Mara's not going to Boulder.
What does leadership look like to you at the quarterback position?
To me, probably one of the best I've seen is I've been around, or the ones that I've been around, are the ability to motivate and get people to follow. To bring the team up when things are down and motivate the rest of the group. And we talk about it a lot. You're the face of the franchise. So like people are watching you, all eyes are on you, and your work ethic, how you approach the game, your ability to interact and connect teammates and across both sides of the ball, offense, defense. I think that's all really important, at that position specifically.
Joe, when you talk about quarterbacks, you talk about discrepancies and trying to get on the same page. Is it especially important that the organization, that everybody's on the same page if you're looking at a quarterback?
Absolutely.
And if there is a discrepancy, how do you break that tie, or do you just pass on that player?
Yeah, no, ultimately the decision falls on me. So you go through the whole process, and there are discrepancies. There's been discrepancies in all different rounds, all different positions in many drafts, and ultimately, final say typically goes with the general manager. So ultimately, if there's a discrepancy, and at the end of the day I'm convicted, the decision has to be made. So that's how we do it.
I like that. Putting all the responsibility on his shoulders. Putting all the responsibility. Hey, it all ends up with me. If a guy ends up being terrible, it's on me. If there's a lot of discrepancies in the room and there's a lot of arguing and not arguing, but sort of going back and forth on who's the right pick, that doesn't matter at the end of the day. I make the final decision. So I like that.
Think about trading up or down from the number 3 pick.
Yeah, we'll be open to all options. I mean, those type of strategy sessions have been ongoing and talking through different scenarios. So yeah, we're always going to be open to either or of those scenarios.
Is that the BS that Jordan Schultz, that the freaking Starbucks guy reported on? That one snippet? Every GM says that. Every GM says that. We look at all our options. We consider everything. Obviously, you're at the number 3 position. If somebody asks for 3 first-round picks to come up, you're gonna be interested. Of course they're talking to other teams about potentially moving down. It doesn't mean they're actually gonna do it. My God, people just be making headlines out of anything.
Scenarios.
Have you received a lot of interest from
Starbucks guy?
We've received some calls. Yeah, we've received some calls.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
But in this position, do you feel you can't miss on a player at this point? I mean, pretty much a lot of rankings have Cam Ward going 1, you have Alvin Carter, you have Travis Hunter. I mean, that seems to be a pretty consensus 1, 2, 3. You may differ with that, I don't know. But, I mean, do you think at number 3, if you just sit there and you say we have top 3 players ranked, whoever is there, you feel like he's almost as much of a can't-miss player as possible in the draft?
We like our options. We like who will be there. We like who will be there.
As a GS, this is your 4th draft, right? You haven't had the chance to put in the card for a quarterback yet. Is that an itch? Is that something that GMs, you want to do?
Yeah, where we are, yeah. I mean, you'd like to have a young franchise quarterback. I think every general manager would be. Everybody wants that. So, but the value has to be right, or
Right.
it doesn't matter. I mean, you get that one wrong.
Right.
You just got to get that right. So when you're in a position to get the right one at the right time, that's when you pull the trigger.
Joe, do you know who you want right now? Could that change tomorrow? Could that change on Thursday?
Yeah, we're still going to run out the shot clock here. We have until next Thursday, so we're going to continue to keep doing our due diligence. And I think a lot of teams around the league are doing the same thing we're doing right now. They're in meetings, so the phone calls usually pick up early next week when guys are out of meetings and you're getting close to the draft. And we'll continue to make our calls to whether it's college coaches, high school coaches, whatever research we need to continue to do. And again, that's been our process. And we'll do good on Thursday.
So what's your urgency to find a young franchise quarterback in this draft?
Yeah, again, everybody wants one of those.
What's your urgency to find? I think Art asked that. It's not a dumb question, but that's almost like implying what's your urgency to just draft a quarterback and hope he's your franchise guy? It's not. There has to be a franchise guy. If you don't think there's a franchise guy there, then there's just not one there. If you're looking for one and you just don't find one, where's the urgency? There's not one there. I don't know what you want me to. I don't know what he want. I don't know. It's not like you're gonna force a guy to be a franchise guy that's just not gonna be one. You're not gonna draft freaking Dylan Gabriel and say listen, Dylan, listen, a lot's riding on you, brother. I need you to be the franchise guy. What's your urgency to find a franchise guy? If there's not one there, where's the urgency?
Yeah.
Pressure to land one this year?
No, I mean, if there's not one, or you don't perceive there to be one, or it's not available when you pick, I mean, that's out of your control.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. Where's the urgency? If there's if you don't feel like there's one there, and you already did your due diligence, what do you mean there's an urgency to find a franchise quarterback? That's like saying that you're just gonna draft one and make him your franchise quarterback.
Yeah, we would love to have one. If there's one available, we will definitely take one.
Yeah.
Look at the strength of the draft. I know a lot of people say defensive line is very strong, running back. How do you view this draft as a whole? Let's put the quarterback position aside for a second.
Yeah, I think the D-line group and the edge group for us, the outside backers, and D-line is a really deep group. I would say running backs is a deep group. Corners, there's some depth at corners. So, I mean, those would be the ones where, I think there's some good depth. There's some high-end guys at other positions, just maybe not as much depth.
My God, that was loud. All right, so there's that. A really weird question. I love my guy Art Stapleton, Mr. State Arpleton. I love my guy Art. I just feel like that was a weird question. I don't know. What's the urgency to find a franchise quarterback? Maybe he just asked that to just get it out the way to see how he would answer it. But that don't make no sense, brother. It doesn't make any sense. I hate how. Okay, let's say the Giants are right. I don't know. I know a lot of people are not trusting of Joe Schoen and the Giants' process of evaluating quarterbacks because they didn't take one last year in Michael Penix, Bo Nix, and JJ McCarthy. I get that, but then again, who has changed? I mean, Bo Nix probably would be the only one that would have changed your mind on getting. Would you guys really take Bo Nix over Malik Neighbors? Be real with me. Be real with me, guys. Would you guys really take Bo Nix over Malik Neighbors? Even with hindsight. Even with hindsight. You're going to look me in the eyes and tell me you would take Bo Nix over Malik Neighbors? Stop it. What about Michael Penix over Malik Neighbors? I don't think there's just enough that we haven't seen anything yet from Malik Neighbors, from Michael Penix to say, yeah, I would take him over Malik Neighbors. What about JJ McCarthy? He didn't even play yet. So, honestly, it's not even. Nobody can say yet, oh, the Giants fucked up last year's draft by taking Malik Neighbors. Why? Because they had 3 wins? Brother, if they would have gotten Michael Penix or JJ McCarthy or Bo Nix, they wouldn't have started. Daniel Jones would have been the starter. So sitting here and trying to talk about this year's wins to combat not drafting a quarterback is the stupidest argument ever. Because even if we were to get a Michael Penix and the team wins 4 games, 5 games, the same people that are talking about Malik Neighbors affecting wins are going to be the same people that say, well, Michael Penix is a rookie quarterback. What do you expect? He's on a terrible team. Of course he only got the team 5 wins. Come on, man. That's just a terrible argument. I've heard that on Twitter so many times. Yo, okay, so Malik Neighbors doesn't... You're telling me that Malik Neighbors does not impact the game. Those 3 wins are indicative of the impact that Malik Neighbors has on a football team. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Because you're going to be locked into that argument if you say that Malik Neighbors didn't impact the team and got them 3 wins. That's what you're going to tell me. It's because, yes, there's bad quarterback play. Yes, wait till you get good quarterback. Wait till you get a good quarterback with Malik Neighbors. With Malik Neighbors. I love Malik Neighbors, but nothing yet has told me that the Giants made a mistake drafting Malik Neighbors over any of the other 3 quarterbacks. Nothing yet. You can't sit here with a straight face and tell me you would take Bo Nix over Malik Neighbors right now, with hindsight. You can't tell me that. If you do, I need you to explain yourself. Come on, man. We become such a depressed franchise that will take literally any shred of decent quarterback play on this team over anybody else. Like, we'll take Bo Nix, you think he's gonna play like that? He only had, honestly, his first half of his rookie season was terrible. He really started to pop off in the second half of the season. You think that second half of the season is gonna be what he's gonna be his entire career? You think that? Come on, man. Bo Nix's ceiling is like a top 16, 17. I don't think he's going to be that good. I really don't think. And you would take that over Malik Neighbors because he's average. Get out of here, bro. I think we forgot. I think we threw our standards for quarterbacks away because we had Daniel Jones for so long and the quarterback carousel for so long and Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm and Tommy DeVito and a bunch and Tim Boyle and all that. I think we forgot about having a standard for quarterbacks that will literally take a top 20 guy over franchise altering guys that can help. You know, it's a team game. It's a team freaking game. Yes, Malik Neighbors was on this team last year, had a phenomenal season, and the team only won 3 games. Yes, because wide receivers really need good quarterback play to help the team win, right? Yes, I get that. You're telling me you would have drafted Bo Nix. There would have been no Malik Neighbors. There would have been no Darius Slay would have been our guy, and probably maybe a second round wide receiver or something like that. Darius Slay would have been our guy, a second round receiver, and Wan'Dale Robinson. You're telling me Bo Nix was gonna do something with that? Daniel Jones would have started. He would have started the season. He would have played X amount of games. Stupid. So all that to say that just because the Giants didn't take one last year and now you don't trust their quarterback evaluation doesn't mean that they just have to take Shedeur Sanders or take a quarterback, plug in your quarterback. Doesn't mean that. Now, I feel the same way about Cam Ward. I love Cam Ward. If the Giants had an opportunity to draft Cam Ward, I would want them to. But at the same time, when you talk about quarterback evaluations, right? And you have a certain standard for one, and a certain standard for your franchise to be your starter. He's got to fit that mold. He has to fit that mold. You know, I personally feel, this is my personal beliefs. I'm not speaking for the Giants. I'm not speaking for the fans. This is my personal belief. I feel like Cam Ward is worth a top 5 pick. Yes, I think he's worth the top 5 pick. Are there flaws to his game? Absolutely. Would he be the best quarterback in most of these drafts? No. No. He's got a lot of flaws. He's not as raw as an AR-15, but he's not as great as a Joe Burrow coming out either. Has a lot of experience. I really love his rise to the collegiate level in the collegiate level. I think there's a lot of high ceiling in him, and I think he could play right now as well. I think he's worth that pick. If the Giants were to skip out on Cam Ward, I would kind of shake my head as well. I'd be like, damn, they didn't think he was good enough. I would think that as well. But let's be honest about Shedeur. Let's be honest about Shedeur. Like, a lot of draft experts, the NFL aren't very high on Shedeur Sanders. Isn't very high on Shedeur Sanders. And I ask you this question. Those of you that want to take a swing at quarterbacks. Those of you that you just want to go willy-nilly and take a swing at quarterbacks. I ask you this question. Take Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders out of this draft. Take them out this draft. I tell you this. What if Will Howard was the best quarterback in this draft? What if Will Howard was the best quarterback in this draft? You're going to take a swing at 3? Let's take a swing at quarterback, guys. You don't know unless you try. You don't know unless you try. Or are you going to give the same argument and say, hey, he's not worth the 3rd overall pick, as a lot of people are saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's this disconnect here. I feel like the Shedeur fans are not understanding that the only reason why we don't want the Giants to draft Shedeur is because we don't feel like he's going to be a franchise guy. They already assume he's going to be a franchise guy. And that's a part of the draft, baby. That's a part of the draft, baby. You don't know who's going to work and who's not. That's a part of the draft. That's good on them for assuming that he's going to be a franchise guy. The same way I assume Cam Ward's going to be a franchise guy. We all have different opinions. But the white knighting for Shedeur Sanders is absolutely nuts, bro. It's got to be put to an end. Listen, if he has a great career, congrats, bro. Congrats. I'm not sitting here rooting for him to lose, especially if he becomes a Giant. If he becomes a Giant, I'm going to be praying to God's going to know. God will tell you. I'll be praying every night that Shedeur Sanders works out. I'm not here to like, oh man, Shedeur becomes a Jet. I hope he just has the worst career. Of course, I really don't care if he works out or not. If he's a Jet, you know what I mean? He's not my team. But I'm not here to root down for any player. You know what I mean? I'm not here to say, oh, because I don't feel like he's worth the 3rd overall pick. I feel like he's a 2nd round guy. He's a 2nd round guy to me. He's a guy that you would creep up. He would creep up back into the 1st round and take. I hate that talk, bro. I don't want to keep ranting about this. But like, people that are like, oh, like if you would trade up back into the 1st round, like say you trade up at 26 or 25. If you trade back up into the 1st round, you should be okay with taking him at 3rd overall. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. I think there's like no logic in that at all. Because if you trade back up into the 1st round for that player, you still use that 3rd overall pick on someone you thought was worth that. Say Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. Now you're swapping your 2nd round pick and that late 1st rounder and giving up one of your 3rds, and you still have another 3rd after that, and you're getting a Shedeur or something like that. Like, the math ain't mathin', bro. Yes, it makes all the sense in the world. You don't have to draft a guy at 3 that you would trade back up into the 1st round for. Come on, bro. I'm talking about quarterbacks, not like any other player. I get that it's for a different position. Yeah, it's but like for a quarterback, it just doesn't make sense. It's all about confidence level as well. And just reading the room. Is it actually a smart decision? Let's say you had a crystal ball, right? Let's say you had a crystal ball and you knew the opinion of all 31 other teams about a player, let's just say, you knew the opinion of all 31 other teams, and let's just say use Shedeur in this example, okay? I'm not here to rag on Shedeur. I'm just, because this is what the topic of conversation is always about. But just to put to a name to it, let's just say Shedeur. And Shedeur drops to like 22 or something like that. And you know that no other team is interested from 3 all the way to 20. No other team is interested in drafting that player, Shedeur in this case, from 3 all the way to 20. Is it really smart to take that guy at 3? Instead of just taking somebody you think is actually higher on your board, you take him at 3, and you just trade up for Shedeur if you want him. But then there's the aspect of, how do you feel about the next quarterback class? Do you feel like Shedeur is better than the next quarterback's coming out? You know? Hey, Kid Blue, there's a lot of bias towards Shedeur Sanders because they don't like Deion Sanders. I get that. I'll tell you what, guys. Here's my, like, freaking, what's it called? Like peace treaty? The leaf thing? I will tell you guys, there are some weirdos out there. Okay, especially on Twitter. There are some weirdos out there that are there to hate Shedeur just to hate Shedeur. I think they just think it's fun. And just hate him because of Deion. Guys, if you guys have been paying attention to my YouTube channel and my Twitter, I was rooting on Deion. I was rooting on Shedeur Sanders when they first got to Colorado and when they were playing. I kind of gotten turned off a little bit by their arrogance, kind of thinking that their shit don't stink. I kind of was turned off by that. I like my quarterback to have confidence. Don't get me wrong. I like my quarterback to have confidence, but it was turning into arrogance, and I don't like that. It don't sit well with me. But it doesn't mean I was rooting for them to fail. I was like, damn, Shedeur, like that NDSU game. I think that was week 1. Was that week 1 or week 0? Week 2, somewhere around there. Man, he had a great game. I was all over Twitter talking about that. Great game. So, like, I'm. There's some weirdos out there, man. There are some weirdos out there. Now, somebody asked me what I don't like about Shedeur Sanders. Okay, New says, what's the issue with Sanders? Okay, what I'm about to describe to you with Shedeur Sanders is not exactly terrible things, right? There's nothing about Shedeur Sanders that is terrible. But nothing just seems absolutely special about him to consider him with a number 3 over pick. That's why I have him as a second rounder, right? That's why I have him as a second rounder. I'll talk about his pod. I'll talk about what I like about Shedeur Sanders a lot, just to calm everybody's mind. I feel like I say this in every stream. Shedeur Sanders is very good with accuracy. I think his accuracy is a little bit over talked about. Like, he's the most accurate quarterback to ever live because he set a record for in Division I football with a completion percentage. But if you look at Pat Shermer, the way he runs his offense, I'm talking 70% of his plays were screen passes and short passes, like about 5 yards. Like, it was very easy offense, right? Now, he was fairly accurate at intermediate as well. Intermediate level, he was fairly accurate. I have no knock on him for that. But trying to say that he's trying to throw his completion percentage out there as if it means that much tells me you're not watching the film, you're watching the stats. Because there's plenty of plays where he's just dumping it off, and guys like Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn, and Will Shepard are just taking it. You know, they were just guys that get some run after the catch. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of his completion percentage were just easy passes, like quick throw passes, right? I don't think he's a bad processor. I think he's an inconsistent processor. There's been times where he makes amazing reads, but there's a reason why he has the most self-induced pressure in this entire quarterback draft class with a whopping total of 26.8%. Nobody even comes close to that in this draft. He holds the ball for too long. What do you think that has to do with? Processing what you're seeing out there post-snap. Now, pre-snap, it's hard to really determine what he sees pre-snap because you're not in the meeting room. You're not in the huddle. You don't know exactly where he wants to go, what he's looking at. But post-snap, you can see when when these teams are disguising coverages and moving things around. You saw that against BYU. Now, BYU, they won in X Games mode. Okay, I'm not going to hold Shedeur Sanders too much about what happened with BYU because they were playing like they were on X Games mode, bro. They were shutting down everything, disguising coverages as well, but because they found his weakness. But when they're shifting out of coverages and it's not plain defenses, Shedeur gets flustered out there. He does. And he starts moving around, trying to make things happen because he's not seeing the field correctly. Or there's a guy streaking open, but he's not seeing him because he's flustered. He had a lot of his offensive line wasn't great. His offensive line didn't do him any favors. But a lot of people are saying like his offensive line was like the worst in college football history. Like it wasn't. In fact, as far as the metrics go, it was even worse in 2023. As far as the metrics go. So in 2024, it was a little better. It was still bad. I'm not knocking him because of the offensive line, like saying he had no excuse, but to say that it was like the worst college football offensive line ever, like it's just not true. It's just not true. There were a lot of times where he wasn't running for his life and he was just not pulling the trigger on a lot of throws, right? His mechanics, a lot of people are saying is like excellent. I think it's good. It's better than Cam Ward's, right? Cam Ward has no mechanics at all. Cam Ward's my number one quarterback, and I love him. Cam Ward has no mechanics at all. Cam Ward literally hikes the ball. Where's my football? Damn, RIP this football, bro. My dog found it and just ripped it up. Oh, I got a cramp. She found it, ripped it up. Yo, Cam Ward really be just going hike and be like this. And just dart that thing. Right? Shedeur Sanders has the footwork down, but I will say it's a little slow. Now I had to have somebody point that out to me, but it is a little slow. Now another thing that I have to talk about with Shedeur Sanders is although he is fairly accurate, he throws an extremely catchable football. By the way, I hate how that is used as a pro. Like when people describe how good Shedeur Sanders is, like he throws a really catchable football. Brother, if you want to be a top quarterback prospect, you want to be a franchise quarterback, that shouldn't even be talked about. You better throw a catchable football. What are we talking about? You better throw a catchable football. Now, that's such a stupid argument, but he has great ball placement. I never had a problem necessarily with his ball placement. His anticipation is not there. He oftentimes waits for these guys to look at him and get open. It's very rare he's throwing a guy open. I'll be honest with you. It's very rare he's throwing a guy open. Has it happened before? Can you pull up a couple of plays where he's done it? Sure. But if you watch him on a down-and-down basis, he's not throwing anybody open. Right? His timing isn't necessarily there. And that's another thing is because he doesn't have a strong arm. You see this a lot. If you guys watch Shedeur Sanders and you watch Jackson Dart, two guys that I don't think have the best arms. You see them put everything in. They put everything into a 15-yard post route. Why is that the case? Why are you leaning into a throw on a 15-yard post and it's still not even coming out like a fireball? Because one way to find out if a guy is leaning into is putting everything into a throw is when his shoulders get unsquared and they kind of lean over. You move forward a little bit and your foot and that foot comes up. Now, if you watch Shedeur Sanders throw with shorts on and he's just going through his drills and throwing, he has excellent mechanics with his footwork, right? He whips his hip forward and that foot never leaves the ground, right? That foot tippy toes a little bit, never leaves the ground, has really good, solid mechanics when he does that, but it doesn't show up when he's actually playing and he's trying to put mustard on a ball on a 15-yard post and he's like lifting his foot in the air and just putting everything into that throw. That tells me that you just don't have great arm strength. He has an NFL arm. I hate when people say he doesn't have an NFL arm. He has an NFL arm. He can survive in the NFL. He could survive in the NFL. But it's just not exemplary. Like, it's not fantastic. His deep ball. Let's go into his deep ball. I know as far as statistics go, he has I think exactly the same amount of completions and attempts as Cam Ward as far as big time throws or deep throws. like throws over 25 yards or so. I think. Oh my God, Jaden, that really, I literally threw 70% out of my ass. I took 70% out of my ass. If that's true, because that's exactly what I see on film, just a bunch of short passes. But what was I talking about? Oh, the deep throws. I know, but it's very different when you watch the film. It's very different. Now, Cam Ward, some of his deep balls don't get there because he doesn't have the footwork. He's not doing everything that he can in his ability to get that ball over there, right? Because Cam Ward he has such a fast release. He has no time for mechanics. He needs to sit there and be patient enough to get through the right release, the right footwork, and whip his hip forward and do everything he needs to do to get that ball there. And sometimes it just flattens out and it just dies out. But he has a very strong arm. He can do it. You watch Cam Ward miss on his deep throws, it's just because he cannot control his arm. Because he just doesn't have the mechanics for it. But if you watch Shedeur Sanders, he has the mechanics. He does everything right. But that ball floats in the air forever. And it doesn't get anywhere. And Travis Hunter is there to bail him out. Go watch that UCF game. There's plenty of deep ball attempts there that go under the radar because they were complete. You know, there was a touchdown there that he threw. Travis Hunter almost tore his almost did the banana split and caught a touchdown. It's not going to be talked about because it was over 40 yards and it was a touchdown, but he had to stop there. Travis Hunter, being as great as he is, adjusted to the ball, and it's a touchdown, and nobody complains about it because it's a touchdown. There was another play. Another play where Travis Hunter literally got freaking got strangled by the neck. But he got tackled by the arm on a pass attempt because it was a 9 route. It wasn't a fade. It wasn't a back shoulder throw. It was a 9 route that Shedeur threw on one-on-one coverage with Travis. Travis beat him, had to stop. The corner took him and made him fall to the ground because it was underthrown, and it was a flag. It was a flag for pass interference. So of course that doesn't count. So nobody talks about that either. You know, there's a lot of plays like that you could bring out where Shedeur Sanders just it's not special. Shedeur Sanders doesn't scream special to me. Is he a guy that you would take a chance on in the second round? Absolutely. Just because I would take him in the second round does not mean I would take him. It was not a back shoulder pass. It was not a back shoulder pass. That was not a back shoulder. The way he threw it, the position in which he threw it, and how much that ball hung in the air, it was not a back shoulder. Back shoulders are thrown with less trajectory. Back shoulders are thrown a little bit more straighter, not with a lot of touch, because you want that ball to get there quick. You don't want to give that defensive back any time to adjust to it. And on top of that, back shoulders are back shoulders. You're looking for the back shoulder, right? When you're running your route, say the inside of the field is here. You're running that back shoulder. That ball is supposed to be here. Where I turn around, boom, it's right there, right? Back shoulders aren't thrown with a long arch like that, where I have to stop for the ball, and as I'm stopping for the ball, the quarterback takes me and tackles me by my neck. His mechanics are slightly overrated because people they don't know what they're looking at. To be honest with you, they don't know what they're looking at. I'm not saying he has bad, he has good mechanics. It's good. It's fine. It's not, but people are acting like it's the best thing they ever saw. I just don't know what's so special about the TD pass. No, I'm not talking about the TD pass, I'm not talking about the TD pass. This was all the way back in their territory. This is all the way back in their own territory. It was on the right sideline, all the way back in their territory. Now the touchdown pass was not a back shoulder pass because that thing didn't even hit the sideline. That thing didn't even reach the sideline. That thing was right in the middle of the right side of the field. I don't like going off on Shedeur Sanders like this, but it feels like I have to do that when talking about why I don't want him at 3. It feels like I have to do that because people are just not understanding why I don't want him at 3. I would take him in the second round. That doesn't mean I would take him in the first. That doesn't mean that. different games. I could be talking about a different game. I could be. I watched a couple of games from him. I watched a couple of Colorado games. I could be mixing it up. But the UCF touchdown pass, that was UCF for sure. I'm talking about the one where he was like brought down when Travis Hunter was brought down by his neck, and it was called a pass interference pass, and Shedeur Sanders threw like a duck, threw an absolute duck. I don't know if that was UCF, but I know the touchdown pass was UCF for sure. If anyone but Travis was catching that ball against UCF, their leg would have been cooked. You know what I'm talking about, right? The banana split. The banana split where he caught that ball like with both his feet like spread out like he's about to do a banana split. All right, Mike, have a good one, brother. Have a good one. I say all of this, and I would still take him in a second. Because I think I like what I see from Shedeur on a quarterback level, but I think he could be a franchise quarterback. Just because you think he could be, anybody could be the best player. Like Brock Purdy could be a franchise quarterback, and he was. Like anybody could be a franchise player. Anybody could, as long as they hit their stride, right? Everybody has quote unquote a high ceiling. It all depends on what team you go to, the coaching, how much they're really expending on making sure you work out, stuff like that. Everybody has that. Doesn't mean you gotta take him that high. You know, it's all about your confidence level in him. I just don't have that much I don't have that much confidence in him to say I want him at 3. I would be willing to take him in the second round and seeing what I can do there, molding him, you know. I think, and check this out, I think he could play day 1. I think right now he could play because he's got decent enough traits that I could be confident in him playing day 1, but would he be a franchise quarterback? I don't know, man. I don't know Shedeur. I don't know if 5 years later we're going to be seeing Shedeur as a top 10 franchise quarterback. I just don't see that, you know? And the fact that people are saying, well, you should be willing to take him even if he's a top 15 quarterback. Like, where's your standards? Where's your standards for quarterback play? Where's your standards? And people are throwing in Jared Goff in there and stuff like that. Like, that's your standard? Like, to make sure he's Jared Goff? Like, I'm shooting for the stars for my franchise quarterback, man. Now, I would take Jared Goff. I would take him, but you don't know if he's going to be that. If his ceiling is Jared Goff, that doesn't mean he's going to be Jared Goff. Do you understand what I'm saying? If his ceiling is Jared Goff, that doesn't mean his... And on top of that, Jared Goff has a monstrous arm. It's not even... Shedeur doesn't even come close to Jared Goff's arm. Jared Goff has had a great arm since coming out of college. So, how about taking Hunter or Carter with the 3rd pick and trading back? Yeah, I would do that. But a lot of the Shedeur fans are coming at me saying, well, if you would trade back up into the 1st, then you should just take him at 3. Brother, it doesn't make any sense. If I can get Travis Hunter and still get Shedeur, I'm doing it. I'll do it. But don't ask me to get Shedeur at 3 and then no Travis Hunter. In that scenario, Shedeur would be the cherry on top. Like, people have this mixed around just because Shedeur is the quarterback in this situation. Shedeur's not the cupcake, right? Shedeur's not the sweet treat dessert. That's Travis Hunter. Shedeur would be the cherry on top. You know what I'm saying? You'd be the, you know? Because I like Travis Hunter as a player a lot more. That's like saying if you don't take Dart or Milrow in round 2, then you shouldn't want them if they were in round 7. Yeah. I'm underestimating Shedeur's talent ability. Listen, guys. I'm not the GM. At the end of the day, I'm not the GM. Doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what I think. If the Giants wind up getting Shedeur Sanders, I hope he works out. And if they get him, if they were to somehow get him not with the 3rd overall pick and they trade back up to get him, I'm super rooting for that because that's what I'm rooting for. That's like my best scenario. You know? That's my best scenario. But if they get him at 3, I've talked about this on multiple lives and videos. I said, if they get him at 3, hey, it means they loved him because they already have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. If they get him at 3, I'm all for it. I'm all for it because that means they're not getting him with with the mindset of we have to get him. We have to get a quarterback. Otherwise, everyone's going to hate us, Or we're fighting for our jobs here. I don't want them to take Shador or any quarterback for that matter. Any quarterback for that matter for the sake of keeping their jobs. I want them to take a quarterback because they love him. We good, bro. We're taking up to him in Milrow, yeah. Yup. Yup. But, yeah, guys. Had a lot of fun tonight. I'm enjoying going live more often. And you guys know we're going to be live for the draft. You guys know that. You guys know we're going to be live for the draft. So don't you worry. I'm probably going to set up the live stream soon. Probably get it scheduled out and make the thumbnail and stuff like that for it. What's good, Lamar? What's good? Better get ready to learn trade option, buddy. Yo, I'm not going to lie. If the Giants draft Jalen Milrow, I think it could be fun. Like, think about those. Yo, those are about to be some legendary. Like, we're going to be talking about those preseason games for years. Like, I'm going to be telling my kids about Jalen Milrow's rookie preseason. He had the best 3 of 6 for 42 yards and 106 yards rushing that you'll ever see. The Giants draft Jalen Milrow. He's gonna have an insane stat line in the preseason. He's just gonna be on arcade mode, bro. Do you think the Giants should draft Dorian Porter, Iowa State cornerback? I don't know of him. Where's he projected? Dorian Porter. Let me look here. Man, I really don't want to go to work tomorrow, bruh. I don't want to work tomorrow. Oh, Darian Porter. Darian Porter, rounds 2 to 3. He's a press man quarter. His 33-inch arms. Jesus. 33-inch arms. 40 time was a 4.3. 10-yard split was a 1.49. 131 in the broad jump. Had only allowed a 29.4 catch rate in 2024. Holy moly. 3 interceptions, 2 passes defensed. Had some bad penalties here. Missed tackle rate is not great. 970 special team snaps. Yo, this guy's a dog. 24 years old though, but hey, 6'3", 197. Yo, you might have just put me on. I might add him to the list to watch. Who said that? Stanley. Might add him to the list to watch, man. Seems like a sleeper. Darian Porter. Good name. I'm on vacation. Enjoy your vacation, Lamar. Enjoy your vacation, because next year is all business. Next year is back to work. Next week. Next week is all business. Next week's the draft, baby. Enjoy your vacation now. All jokes aside, though, if the Giants trade up and you see Jalen, Jaden, if the Giants trade up into the first round, I assume you're talking about the first round. If the Giants trade up into the first round and draft Jalen Milrow, I'll put a hole through my monitor. I swear. I'll put a hole through my monitor. I swear. Our offense with Milrow, Mari Hampton, and Neighbors will be sick. Oh, God. You guys are scaring me, man. Stop. Milrow's not good. Yeah, he's not new. He's not good. He's not good at all. That might be one of the most obscene. Like, when you watch him run, is like he's amazing, right? Like, the guy should be a running back. You watch that guy play quarterback, and you're like, what am I watching? He's not a good quarterback. He is not a good quarterback at all. That man has Daniel Jones type stats as far as being a quarterback, and there are people that want him. He has Daniel Jones stats in college. What, he had like 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions? That's the Daniel Jones touchdown to interception ratio. And they want him. He's Daniel Jones with a great arm and can run a lot better than Daniel Jones. Prime Jalen Milroe and Malik Neighbors would actually run my life. Can't lie, Milroe and the Giants offense would be generational. Yeah, I want to lose to Washington, Dallas, and Philly. Yeah, man. Yep. All right, guys. I think I'm off this now. Gonna eat the rest of my dinner that I had from earlier. And, yeah. If there's any more news that the Giants come out with towards this, Stanley is mentioning that. Yo, RIP Kyron Lacy, bro. Were we just talking about that a couple of weeks ago? If he was like, if what was going on with Kyron Lacy and his allegations and stuff like that? Well, not allegation, I don't know if he had like something coming up as far as that case was going. And I don't know too much about it. I don't want to speak on something I don't know. I haven't looked into it. But when we were doing the mock drafts, I was like, yo, what would be the likelihood that the Giants just or any team getting Kyron Lacy late? Because Kyron Lacy is like phenomenal talent, like Kayshon Boutte or whatever I already say his name. Like, he was a steal, LSU receiver. You know, another one, Kyron Lacy. Like, this guy can make an impact for a team. It's just the off the field stuff, you know. But man, Kyron Lacy would have been a really good talent, bro. R.I.P. man. R.I.P. And I heard it was a self-unaliving too. So, man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I can imagine the guilt he was feeling, either the guilt or the controversy that he was talking about. Like, every time his name was mentioned, it was always about that situation. So I can imagine, you know, it was hard on him. And I know a lot of, Twitter is a nasty place, bro. People saying that they don't feel bad for him and stuff like that because of what he did. Like, he wasn't a bad kid. I mean, bro, these kids, man. A lot of these kids, man, they don't know the consequences of their actions. They just don't know the consequences of their actions, and it winds up, a lot of other people wind up paying the price. You know, and that's unfortunate. It's a really bad situation, but it doesn't mean that you got to be happy for the guy to be gone too. It's just like, he didn't mean to do it. You know, he didn't mean to hurt somebody. I don't know, man. I think he got caught again after that. Ay. And it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's just like, you are what you hang around, bro. You gotta have positive influences in your life. All you kids watching this, bro. I for real. Like, keep all those negative people in your life, the people that get you into trouble, they get themselves into trouble. You gotta stay away from those people, man. You gotta stay away from those people. Now, I don't know, like, how he was as a person. I don't know him at all. I barely know anything about Kyron Lacy besides that he was a really good wide receiver for LSU. That's it. But, you know, you can imagine he's not doing that stuff by himself. You can imagine he's got some bad influences as well. You know, of course, a lot of the brunt of it is his responsibility at the end of the day. But, you know, you are who you hang around, guys. So, honestly, bro, especially if you have a bright future ahead of you. You shouldn't be doing it anyway, but if you have a bright future ahead of you, you could, you know, rise up against all of that nonsense. Like, you know, focus on that. The link is the 1-of-1 video, bro. Watch the entire thing. This guy can do everything. Watch this video of Travis Hunter. It's absolutely crazy. Where's the link? I'll watch it off stream. I'm probably gonna get off this now. Send me the link. You can email me the link or tweet me the link or whatever. At KidBlueRB27. All my social information is in the description. 1-of-1. Oh. 1-of-1 Travis Hunter. There's a bunch of videos titled 1-of-1. Who is it by? Travis Hunter's YouTube account? It's like his season highlights? Heisman season highlights. There's a bunch of stuff that says 1 of 1. Yeah. Watch the entire thing is crazy. Yeah. I mean, I've watched a lot of Travis Hunter. I don't know if how much more surprised I'm going to be of him. He's an amazing talent. Amazing talent. And definitely on his way to being like a generational guy. Damn, man. That's a great message right there. The world's a better place with you in it. Absolutely, Jack. Absolutely. Absolutely. Appreciate you, Pops. That's my Pops. Shout out to Pops. Great stuff. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Lamar, say peace. Enjoy your vacation, Lamar. Have a good one, brother. We'll see you. Is it true that we had a workout with Dart yesterday today? It happened before the pro day, before his pro day. That was weeks ago. The news just came out about it, which I think is very interesting. Very interesting how they try to sweep that under the rug. Maybe they like Jackson Dart. I don't know. Good night. I'm going to sleep in my Milrow blankets. Yo, Jane, you need help, brother. You need help. The Giants' best bet is to get Carter. We'll see. We will see. We will see. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys for joining in. What's your email? I can send it to you. It's in the description. It says for business, email me, and it has my email there. But obviously this isn't business, so you could just email me. No, you don't have to inquire about anything. You guys can just email me freely, bro, or hit me up on Twitter. Send me links to react to, and I'll go live and react to them or whatever. I'm trying to make this a big, more. I want to talk to you guys more. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk to you guys more, interact with you guys more. So I'll be going live more. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys next time. If any more Giants news, major Giants news comes out, any other pressers or anything like that, we will be on here at some point in the day to talk about it live. That's kind of what I want to do from now on. So shout out to everybody in the chat, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys.